You are about to make one of the most expensive decisions of the next 5 years of your life, and most people in your position get it completely wrong. Not because they're careless, not because they didn't research, but because they walked into the wrong dealership, fell in love with the wrong badge, and drove away thinking they made a smart choice. Then the bills started arriving, the reliability nightmares started, the resale value started collapsing, and the sick feeling in your stomach, you probably know the one, told you that something had gone terribly wrong. But here's what's different about today's video. I am not going to tell you which compact SUVs to avoid. I'm going to do something far more powerful. I'm going to hand you the 3 compact SUVs that US News & World Report, after evaluating over 30 individual research and data points across safety, reliability, fuel economy, cargo space, performance and value, could only give a 9.3 out of 10 or higher in the entire 2026 compact SUV class. Every single model, 3 vehicles cleared that bar. 3 out of dozens of options sitting on dealer lots right now across the country. And by the time this video is over, you will know exactly which one belongs in your driveway and why. Before we get into it, if you haven't subscribed to the Atif Cars channel yet, hit that subscribe button right now. Every single week, we cut through the noise, the marketing spin, and the dealership pressure tactics to bring you the research you actually need before you sign anything. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Now, let's start with the one that shocked almost everybody, because the SUV sitting at number 3 on this list, number 3 in terms of the score you'd have to earn before we'd even talk about it, is a name most mainstream shoppers still walk right past at the dealership, and that mistake is costing them thousands. Number 3, the 2026 Mazda CX-5. This is the third of our 3 vehicles that earned a 9.3 out of 10 from US News & World Report, and I want you to understand what that means, because Mazda, in the eyes of most American car buyers, is still considered a second-tier brand. It's still the car that people kind of assume isn't quite as good as Toyota or Honda. It's the one that parents maybe buy but wouldn't brag about at the office. That perception is wrong, deeply, expensively wrong. Here's the brutal reality. The 2026 Mazda CX-5 was completely redesigned from the ground up, 3rd generation, and Mazda didn't just refresh the styling or slap on a bigger infotainment screen, they went further. The 2026 CX-5 is 4.5 inches longer than its predecessor, with essentially all of that growth going into the wheelbase, the space between the front and rear wheels, which means the rear seat passengers are the ones who benefit most. That's not an accident. Mazda heard the complaints about rear seat tightness and they fixed it. According to KBB, who put hours of evaluation time into this generation, the new CX-5 still delivers the kind of athletic, taut handling that no mainstream compact SUV rival can touch. This is not a mild-mannered family hauler that happens to have 4 wheels. This is an SUV that actually encourages you to drive it. Edmunds called it spry and fun, even after the redesign shifted it towards more mainstream appeal. But wait until you hear the part about the technology, because Mazda didn't hold back. The 2026 CX-5 now comes standard with a 12.9-inch touchscreen, and if you move up to the top trim Premium Plus, you're looking at a 15.6-inch integrated center display. That is the largest screen ever offered on any Mazda vehicle in history, and it's not just a big screen. It runs Google built-in, which means Google Maps as your navigation, Google Assistant for hands-free control, and eventually Google Gemini AI built right into the vehicle. The starting price? $31,485. According to KBB, buyers using their fair purchase pricing tools are paying somewhere between $445 and $685 below MSRP depending on trim, and standard on every single CX-5, regardless of which trim you choose, standard is Mazda's iActive all-wheel drive. You don't have to pay extra for AWD, you don't have to upgrade, it's there from the moment you buy the base model. Now, I have to tell you about the one thing the CX-5 doesn't offer yet, and this matters if fuel economy is your top priority. There is no hybrid version available at launch. Mazda has confirmed a hybrid CX-5 is coming, but not until 2027. So if you need that fuel efficiency right now, the CX-5 is asking you to wait. On paper, a compact SUV without a hybrid in 2026 sounds like a weakness, and here's the catch, it actually is one. But here's the kicker, Consumer Reports reliability data shows the Mazda CX-5 has the best predicted reliability scores in the entire compact SUV class. Not one of the best, the best. Only the Toyota RAV4 plug-in hybrid comes close in that measure. That means you're trading hybrid fuel savings for the confidence that your SUV won't strand you with a $4,000 repair bill at 40,000 miles. That is a trade that smart buyers are making right now. And the verdict? If you want the most rewarding driving experience in the mainstream compact SUV segment, wrapped in a cabin that feels a full price tier above what you actually paid, and backed by the best reliability data in the class, the 2026 Mazda CX-5 at 9.3 out of 10 is your answer. The only question is whether you can wait on the hybrid. If you're getting value from this breakdown, do me a favor right now, hit that like button. It tells the algorithm that this kind of research-backed content deserves to reach more buyers before they make the wrong decision, and it keeps this channel funded so we can keep doing exactly this. Okay, moving on. Number 2, and this is the one that is about to redefine what you thought you knew about the segment. The 2026 Mazda CX-5 earned its 9.3, but this vehicle earned a 9.4, the highest score in the entire hybrid SUV category according to US News & World Report, and the single highest rated compact SUV available anywhere in the market right now.
Number 2. The 2026 Hyundai Tucson Hybrid. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 2026 Hyundai Tucson Hybrid. Before I give you the data, I want you to feel for a moment what it means that a Hyundai, a brand that spent 2 decades being the budget option, the punchline, the car you bought when you couldn't afford the good stuff, now sits at the absolute top of a category that Toyota, Honda, and Mazda are all fighting tooth and nail to dominate. That is not small news. That is a seismic shift in the automotive world, and most people buying compact SUVs in 2026 have not yet realized it's happened. The Tucson Hybrid does not just edge out the competition, it wins the driving experience category outright. Consumer Reports, which independently reviewed the Tucson Hybrid, ranked it number 1 among all compact SUVs for road test scores, a full point ahead of the Honda CR-V Hybrid, which is itself a phenomenal machine. 1 point doesn't sound like much. In automotive testing, it is enormous, and the Tucson Hybrid earned it because of the way it communicates with the driver. The way the 8-speed automatic transmission, not a droning CVT, an actual multi-step automatic, shifts cleanly and responsively. The way the suspension handles both long highway miles and tight urban corners, without ever feeling like it's compromising one for the other. Now, let's talk about the numbers, because these numbers are not opinions, these are facts. The 2026 Hyundai Tucson Hybrid delivers class-leading fuel economy for a non-plug-in hybrid compact SUV. It does this with a 2.5-litre 4-cylinder hybrid powertrain that produces enough performance to handle freeway mergers, mountain passes, and daily school runs without ever leaving you reaching for more power that isn't there. And because Hyundai offers a plug-in hybrid version as well, one with 32 miles of pure electric range, which US News also reviewed separately, you have options within this single vehicle family that no single competitor can match. Safety. This is where the Tucson absolutely locks down its position. Hyundai made rear seat safety a genuine priority. Every Tucson comes standard with rear side airbags, not standard on most rivals, standard rear seatbelt notification, standard rear seatbelt enhancements, and a full suite of crash avoidance technology, including forward collision warning, automatic emergency braking active at highway speeds, blind spot monitoring, and rear cross traffic alert. According to Consumer Reports' most recent safety evaluation, both the 2026 Tucson Gas and Tucson Hybrid models check every single box CR requires for a perfect safety rating. That's not a marketing claim, that is an independent testing conclusion. Cargo. The 2026 Hyundai Tucson has more cargo space than the Honda CR-V, and the CR-V is already near the top of the class for cargo. US News confirmed that only the Tucson edges out the CR-V in this category, and only by 3 to 4 cubic feet. But those cubic feet matter on a Sunday when you're at Costco, or when the stroller goes in, or when the bikes need to fit. The 12.3-inch infotainment touchscreen is standard. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard. The digital instrument cluster that spans nearly the full width of the dashboard, standard. And the price where all of this starts? $28,705. Let me say that again. $28,705 for a 9.4 out of 10 compact SUV from US News, winner of both the 2026 Best Compact SUV for the Money Award and the 2026 Best Compact SUV for Families Award, both simultaneously. Because US News doesn't hand out those awards to vehicles that are merely good, they hand them to vehicles that are undeniably great across the metrics that matter most to real families spending real money. Verdict: if fuel efficiency, safety, interior technology, cargo room and long-term value are what you care about, and statistically they are what most families buying compact SUVs care about, then the 2026 Hyundai Tucson Hybrid at 9.4 out of 10 is not just a great choice, it is the best compact SUV on the market right now, full stop. Which brings us to the one that started it all. The one that makes the entire 9.3 and above list possible, because this is the vehicle US News ranked number 1 in the standard compact SUV category, tied with the CX-5 at 9.3, but winning 2 additional awards the CX-5 did not, and it is also, quietly, Hyundai's best-selling vehicle in America.
Number 1, the 2026 Hyundai Tucson. Now, you might be wondering, wait, haven't we already covered the Tucson Hybrid? Yes, and here is why the standard Tucson deserves its own moment. Because the gas-powered Tucson is not just a budget version of the hybrid. It is a completely distinct experience, built for buyers whose priorities look slightly different. And when US News evaluated 32 separate research and data elements on this vehicle, 32 data points covering everything from crash test scores to cargo volume to owner satisfaction to performance metrics to long-term reliability data, the Tucson came out at 9.3 out of 10, tied for first in the compact SUV class. The 2026 Tucson runs a 2.5-litre 4-cylinder engine, making 187 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 takes about 9 seconds, which is completely typical for this class and frankly honest in a market full of exaggerated performance claims. But the 8-speed automatic makes those 9 seconds feel smoother and more deliberate than the continuously variable transmissions used by most rivals. There is no CVT drone, there is no stuck-in-a-gear hesitation. When you ask for acceleration, you get a clean downshift and a responsive push. When you ease off, it settles. That is how a transmission is supposed to work. For 2026, Hyundai made meaningful upgrades to the Tucson lineup. The towing capacity was increased to 2,750 pounds, up from 2,000 pounds in previous configurations. That jump is significant. It means the Tucson can now meaningfully tow a small boat, a lightweight camper, or a loaded cargo trailer with trailer brakes. The XRT trim, the off-road oriented version, now includes a terrain mode system with dedicated mud, snow and sand settings. Starting at $34,725 for the XRT all-wheel drive, it competes directly with the adventurous end of the compact SUV market and wins on value every single time. US News' own reviewer drove a 2026 Tucson XRT all-wheel drive across 220 miles of urban interstates and found it to be, quote, a smooth and competent cruiser with a lot to like.
The seats were comfortable for long-haul driving, the 12.3-inch infotainment screen was clear and intuitive, fuel economy was good for a non-hybrid compact SUV, and when the road got twisty, there was surprisingly little drama. That is not a review of a compromise vehicle. That is a review of a compact SUV that has figured out how to be good at almost everything without being exceptional at nothing. Here's what nobody is talking about. The 2026 Tucson is also a finalist for the 2026 Best Compact SUV for the Money Award, even in its standard non-hybrid form. At $28,705 to start, with AWD available and a feature list that includes standard rear side airbags, wireless connectivity and a full safety suite, the value equation is almost impossible to argue with. Competing directly with the Honda CR-V, the Nissan Rogue, the Chevrolet Equinox and the Subaru Forester, vehicles with strong reputations and massive dealer networks, the Tucson holds its own in every category that matters to a family making a 5-year financial commitment. And that's what buying a compact SUV actually is, by the way. Not just a car purchase, a financial commitment, an insurance decision, a fuel cost projection, a reliability bet, a resale value gamble. Most people walk into a dealership thinking about the monthly payment and the color options. The smart buyers, the ones who watch videos like this, are thinking about the total cost of ownership over 60 months. They're thinking about what happens at 75,000 miles when competitors start showing repair bills. They're thinking about what the vehicle is worth when they trade it in. And on every one of those dimensions, the 2026 Hyundai Tucson answers the bell. Verdict: if you want a compact SUV that is genuinely well-rounded, comfortable, practical, safe, affordable, capable, and backed by data from 32 independent research evaluations, the 2026 Hyundai Tucson at 9.3 out of 10 is the safe choice that never actually feels like settling. So, here's where we land. US News evaluated the entire 2026 compact SUV class, dozens of vehicles, hundreds of data points, and only 3 cleared the 9.3 out of 10 bar. The 2026 Mazda CX-5 for the driver who wants the most rewarding experience and the most reliable non-hybrid in the class, the 2026 Hyundai Tucson for the family that needs the best value, safety and everyday practicality in one package, and the 2026 Hyundai Tucson Hybrid, the highest rated compact SUV of any kind in 2026 at 9.4 out of 10 for the buyer who refuses to compromise between fuel economy, safety, performance and long-term value. Before you walk into any dealership, before you sign any financing paperwork, before you hand over a single dollar, you now know what the data actually says. And that knowledge is worth far more than any incentive a sales manager can offer you on the floor. Drop a comment below right now. Which of these 3 surprised you the most? The Mazda CX-5 topping the reliability charts, the Tucson Hybrid sitting at 9.4, or something else entirely? Tell me what shocked you. And if you're currently shopping for a compact SUV, tell me which one is on your shortlist and I'll help you work through the decision right here in the comments. That is what this channel is for. If this video delivered value, share it with someone who's about to buy a compact SUV without watching it first. You might literally save them thousands of dollars. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video where we are going to expose which 2026 compact SUVs look great on paper and then fall apart in the real world. Stay smart, stay informed. See you there.